Hello and welcome to Thomas Geiger Car. Today with a car that is totally out of this world, because all the industry is heading full steam towards a green, mainly electric future. And BMW is prepping the next big step with the Neue Klasse, even experimenting with the fuel cell. And now something like this, the next generation M2, a pure petrolhead's toy car. And if you want to know what to expect from that vehicle that will hit the European roads before this summer, join me on my first test drive and I'll tell you more about it. But before we start driving, let's just take a look at the design, at some features, and let's look where this car sits in the model lineup. The car is called M2, which relates him to the 2 Series, but it is actually a 3 Series, just shrunken down. So you don't have the front wheel drive architecture of the 2 Series, it's more an M3 with little less proportions and little less size. Even more fun to drive. It's 4.58 meters in length, means 21 centimeters less than in the M3. And also the wheelbase is shorter, about 11 centimeters. So that's one handbrake, and you can enjoy that car even more, as we will figure out later on. But that's for the driving point. If you're driving in the city, it's more about the looks, and this car has great looks. BMW recently teamed up with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator, Governor of California, Hollywood star and former bodybuilding champion. And this car really is kind of the automotive equivalent to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Very muscular, very bold, very strong. And if you see that, big fenders here, that's really like it's put on steroids. And once you see the front with the big opening, the aggressive grille, then you realize this car has lots of power. And if you see this front in your rearview mirror, you better move to the side, because this car will bite your ass. The car might be constructed in a very old fashion, but the interior is totally up to date. So we have the same curved display as, for example, in the new 7 Series, and we have the newest operating system running here. So you have all the details to your own adjustment. I find it sometimes pretty complicated, because there are so many options you can choose that it's sometimes really hard to figure out which option to take, and the menus and the setting is really deep and bits and pieces. And it's not only infotainment, navigation, air condition. No, since it's an M, you also can adjust lots of the M features. So driving performance, steering, handling, dampers, springs, all that, and it manually to be adjusted. So you just go on the setup button and then you see what functions you all can adjust. Even the M traction control, where the car gets a certain wheel spin and you can really show off when going off the parking light, almost like on a drag strip. You can do burnouts, you can do donuts. So everything to play. It's like on a PlayStation, just on real wheels and just in reality. Lots of fun to play with, but who needs all the electronic gimmicks if you have an inline-6 engine with 460 horsepower to play with? That's the real game, and that's where the fun begins. Talking about the fun, the engine is the same as in the famous M3 or M4, just with a slightly little less horsepower to make the family hierarchy intact, or to keep the family hierarchy intact. So 460 horsepower is 20 horsepower less than in M3, M4, but since the car is more than 100 kilos lighter, you don't feel a difference, especially since torque is the same. We have 550 Newton meters in here, means you can accelerate from 0 to 100 in 4.1 seconds. That's Porsche or almost Ferrari style. So you get a compact car, a compact coupe, where you can kick asses of all the super sports cars. That's quite a bit of fun. Driving an M is not only about the linear acceleration and about top speed, even if that is quite impressive with 285 kilometers per hour with full throttle. No, driving an M is also about cornering, and about curves. And that's what we're gonna figure out right now when we head into the countryside. Just finding our way through traffic, heading out of the city and searching a small, narrow, winding mountain road. Finally, we found our way out of the city into the mountains and are really enjoying the car for the first time. Rev meter is going up way beyond 6,000, 7,000 RPM. And I love the fact that this car is also offered with a manual. So you have a bit more work to do with your feet and with your right arm, but you really get a feeling for the car. You really feel in control. And once you go around the corners, you're just excited and impressed how nimble, how precise, and how active and agile this car is. If there's one driver's car in the M lineup, for me, it's definitely the M2. Not for showing off, but for really having fun on tight roads like that. If we look around in the interior of the M2, we realize the M people didn't stick to the drivetrain, to the suspension, to the setup alone. As usual, they also enhanced interior look and feel with some carbon plating, with some more chrome finishing, with nice color stitching in the traditional M colors, and even these M color flags in the door panels. Pretty well done, but don't care at all for it because this car is all about driving. I really like the seats because they really give you lots of hold, and the passenger might enjoy that as well. But question is, can a passenger really enjoy that car while the driver is enjoying it? Usually you're so engaged that passengers tend to ask you to have a break, to get out and let you enjoy the fun alone. And especially the rear seat is totally useless. You might put your jacket there or your bag, but the trunk is big enough to do that over there, and nobody wants to sit there. Your kids might have enough room, but they really don't like you driving a car like that as it's supposed to be. And your in-laws, you better leave at home as well. So why not take out the seat, make it a real hard and uncompromising sports car, saving some more weight and giving it another twist. But let's see, maybe there's an M2 CSL or something like that on the horizon, raising the price, lowering the weight, and giving you even more fun. What a fun piece to drive! Thanks for joining me on that first test drive with the next generation BMW M2. The car in the M lineup that really impresses me the most. Yes, it's totally old-fashioned, but that's the reason why I really like it. While all the world is going electric, going green, and going environmentally friendly, this is a badass fun car. Saving the best for last, and if this is the last sports car the M GmbH might ever build, I'm in it. Thank you, Tschüsschen, Weitchen, and goodbye.